Hey there survivors, how's it going? Welcome back to Ark Survival Evolved. Today I'm going to share with you 7 hidden base locations on Valguero. These are mainly aimed at solo players or small tribes. There's a couple on the list that I'm pretty sure are quite well known, but I think they're really nice spots anyway, so I thought I'd include them. Well, let's get into the video anyway. If you find it helpful, please drop a like and a sub to the channel, and I'll catch you at the end. Alright, so the first location is around 4687 on the far east of the map. It's basically in these ruins, and it's quite hidden by one tree especially, so as long as you can keep the tree there, you'll be extra hidden. But you can't really do much with these ruins generally. This will be quite ideal for a starter spot. And as you can see, it's pretty well covered from most angles really. So anybody scouting and flying about shouldn't see you generally unless they go really close. If you want your base 2 foundations wide, you can snap them on these higher bits, and then you can build along. But it's not quite as hidden as the other way. The other way is to make it 1 foundation wide at the bottom bit here in the water. The only disadvantage is that you can only seem to fit a wall at the one end of it, but then you can build out to the end of the channel basically. If you lower your foundations as well, you can almost make your ceiling flush with the rock wall, and you've got more options to build back on ceilings if you want. So we got our foundations as low as they'll go, and we build right out to the end, and yeah, you can fit a wall there, or a door would make more sense I guess, but I'll just place a wall just to show you. And then as you can see, the ceiling is pretty close, like no one can get anything through there or anything. But still, if you had the wall at this end, then you've got the option to build up and back more as well on ceilings then. And like I said, if you had the wall on the other end, you wouldn't have that little gap next to the wall then. But then regular ceilings are a little bit restricted on official settings like this. You could use triangle ceilings to sort of swerve your way around the rock a bit more. If you manage to get triangle foundations to snap straight through the middle channel as well, you might be able to fit 2 walls on either side. Anyway, let's head to the next location. Alright, this next spot is around 3258, and it's behind this little waterfall here. This location is more of a starter base as well, instead of a permanent little hiding base. But it's against this mountain with loads of waterfalls, and it's basically the far little left one. And it's got a little cubby hole behind it that you can put a few foundations in. It's quite hard to snap the regular foundations just because the floor is so sloped. But there is a place where you can snap 2, I just couldn't seem to find it on this one. But if you use the triangle foundations, it's much easier to find some points, so you can make a few levels of foundations to put some stuff on. So there, I can get 2 little levels here just with this quick little put together, but have a little practice in this place and you should be able to get a few more foundations to snap. The other thing with this place is this little water gap above doesn't actually register as water at all. You can actually see down it a bit. It is quite obscured if you're high up from it, but it is on an area where people won't walk by normally because it's kind of off a rock off the edge of the cliff as well. So unless someone specifically goes in it, they shouldn't see you. So that was location number 2. Let's head over to the next location. This next spot is around 1276, and it is right up the far north in the Wyvern Trench. It's not very far into it, I'll show you how to get into it in a minute, but it's in just this little unsuspecting cubby hole. So if I go out first just to show you how to get in, because it's not that far in. So obviously the Wyvern Scar cuts across the top of the map, and it's got an east entrance and a west entrance. So you want to find the west entrance, and then you basically just go straight down into the cave at the end. And then there's 2 holes, but either way will do because this way's a drop and that way just curves around down. And then when you get through to this bit, you'll see like a big rock on the edge there. You don't want to go down anymore. So you just carry on following the wall to the left, and then next to the first lava waterfall, I've put a cliff platform here to mark it. But you just go down on the ground here and you'll see this little cubby hole down here. There's a few places that you can easily snap 2 foundations together on here. And I'm pretty sure that if you lowered your foundations on this top bit, you could probably get a 2x2 to snap together. Triangle foundations seem pretty good to use in here as well, so if you can find the right snap height, you might be able to get them to snap all the way along this area. But have a little play around. Also have a look for other little cubby holes, because there is quite a few I've found. That's just kind of the most inconspicuous one, just because it looks like it reaches the ground until you go all the way down there, and it's reasonably near the entrance. But most people coming in here are basically just going to be flying past looking for the wyvern nests and eggs. And so as long as you don't actually have anything poking out of the entrance of your base, you should be fine. Okay, so this next location is actually a cliff platform location, and it's right at the far northwest of the map, around 3-6. And through this snow valley area, there's kind of a few rocks that overhang, and a couple are quite good to put some cliff platforms under just to hide, but most people flying by just shouldn't see you. There is only quite a narrow window as well that you can place the cliff platform, as you can see here. But once you get it here, then you've got quite a lot of building space and a couple of choke points. This is the type of base that you'd probably want a turret chandelier just coming down from the cliff platform so no one could just go up and see for it. But it is pretty tucked away, and if no one's really building in the snow area on your server, this might be quite an ideal location. This is another option as well, which is actually in the same valley. And this one only has a narrow window as well for placing the platform. But then this one is just tucked around behind this curved around bit, just next to the exit of the valley. Another good thing about this location is that you're next to lots of metal, oil and crystal, so you could farm up a bunch and get ready to move to a bigger base using this location if you wanted as well. Alright, this next spot is down in the aberration area around 4877. And it's in like this big tree thing that's against the wall. But what's good about this is that you don't even really need to go through the gap like this like you do on most of the trees. The whole tree is basically meshless, so you can just go through any part of it. Now I forgot to test if you can actually fit any triangle foundations along the wall rocks, just because you can fit triangle foundations almost like cliff platforms in some places. But this is mainly a cliff platform base to actually give you a good amount of room to build. So then it's up to you if you just wanted to build one cliff platform base in like an unsuspecting corner like this, or if you actually wanted to utilise the whole of the back of this area and just fill it with cliff platforms and turrets so it'll shoot people without them even seeing. But even if Wildcard end up patching this tree and making it solid, it'll just make this base even more hidden. Alright, so this next location is just under this little bridge around 9638. And it's quite easily recognisable. It's the one with the one log poking through the middle of the bridge. And there's just a little ledge under it. I wasn't sure whether to include this one in the video or not, as it's a bit limited on official, as you can place some foundations, but you can't seem to place a wall against the wall. And also there doesn't seem to be a way of placing a ceiling, even if you lower the foundations like I'll show you in a second. Now if you're playing on unofficial, you could probably utilise this place a lot better, but I thought I'd include it still, as I had some backup stuff here on an official server which didn't get found for over a month, so it doesn't seem like it's scouted very often. So here I'm just lowering the foundations using the pillar technique, and it won't go any lower than that, so I take the pillar away. And still can't fit two walls high, and still can't put a ceiling there even if I try putting it on top of a pillar. So that is the unfortunate thing about this spot. Now this last spot is actually behind a waterfall around 3590. It's quite a well-known spot already, but it's a pretty good spot to take if it's free on your server, because there's only one entrance. It's elevated as well, so it's not on the ground. There's a load of metal and crystal and rock in there as well to start you off. There's barely any restrictions for building in here as well, so you can make a very sizable base. So even for a medium-sized tribe, you should have enough room for all the structures that you need, and plenty of room for breeding as well. Alright survivors, well thanks for watching my first edition of Valguero hidden spots for solo players or small tribes. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please drop a like on the video and a sub to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye for now. Peace.